Space Cowboys out there, it's Jude here, and today I wanted to go ahead and talk to you guys about some updates regarding some characters, story mode, and then of course the online mode for Dragon Ball FighterZ. So starting off, I do want to give credit where credit is due. The original source for this information is coming from dengenkionline.com. I'll go ahead and link that in the description below. And then this was kindly translated by a user of the name greatfernman. I'll also go ahead and leave his information down in the description below so that you guys can go ahead and follow the source if that is something that you are interested in. Now, the first thing I wanted to go ahead and talk about is the first character up, Nappa. They are giving us some information in regards to his playstyle and the moves that he does have. So starting off, they mentioned that Nappa is a slow-moving, long-reach character with many high-damaging moves. The emphasis is on the strength and weight behind his individual hits, so this is nothing really new. Nappa has always been more of a slow character and a very damaging character, very strong. New thing to Nappa is the long reach. He has never been a long-reach character. He's always been a character who had to get in your face and put the works on you. But moving on, he can plant seeds that grow into Cybermen and attack your opponent. Fight by combining your high damage moves and the tricky offense granted by Cybermen. So this was shown off in its initial reveal trailer, and I believe in the jump scans as well. So we already knew this about Nappa. He can plant Cybermen and they will attack you. I'm going to assume that they have different commands depending on the input you do the move with. Now going into it, his special move Cybermen, obviously they're going to talk about the Cybermen. After being planted in the ground, the Cybermen automatically grow and attack, obviously. There are many different Cybermen attacks, and depending on the command used to plant them, they could perform a rush, slide, projectile, or self-destruct, etc. Only one Cyberman can be out at a time. Now this is actually good information, this is good news. It's nice to know that he can't have 3, 4 Cybermen on the screen at once, and it is nice to know, depending on the input that you do use, a different move or attack will be used by the Cybermen. So once again, just to reiterate, they can do a rush, a slide, a projectile, or self-destruct. Now they do say etc. Not sure if that was an error or maybe there is more, but it is nice to know that there is some variety, so he can really mix it up with the Cybermen. Moving on, they mentioned his one of his supers, the Volcano Explosion. This costs 1 bar, and anybody that's familiar with Nappa, they've seen this in the show, they've seen this in pretty much every game he's featured in. It is the move where he flicks his wrist up, his fingers are pointed, and a huge explosion comes out. He used it in the show, but going right back into it, Nappa points upwards with his index and middle fingers and causes a large explosion. The horizontal hitbox is very large, so it's easy to hit opponents even from a distance. So pretty much, this is a move that you can pretty much take the screen up with. I'm assuming it's a full screen punish. Let's say somebody whiffs a button. Let's say somebody does an unsafe move from far away for whatever reason. You can go ahead and throw this move out if you have 1 bar and I guess punish them. So that's always good to know. Moving forward, they go into his level 3. They call these Meteor Supers, and it is the Break Cannon. I'm not sure why they went with the Break Cannon and not the move that he used on Piccolo to finish him off. But whatever. Going into it, Nappa's strongest move, Nappa strikes the opponent with a powerful attack, then shoots a high damage horizontal energy beam from his mouth. So obviously this is one of the moves that he used in this series, in the show, and me myself, I didn't really feel like it was one of those moves that, you know, it was iconic. It was something that you would use 3 bars on. But hey, whatever, I'm going to assume that this thing does massive damage if it does land raw, so I'm sure there's an upside to it. Now, that's it for Nappa, but we do have Ginyu up next, and for Ginyu, immediately going into it, Ginyu is an unorthodox character who fights by calling the members of the Ginyu Force in to assist him in battle, so once again, this is something we've seen in his reveal trailer. He can also turn the tides with his body chain super by swapping bodies with the opponent. Ginyu himself does above average damage, and his normals and specials are standard and easy to use. So pretty much to me, it sounds like they're trying to say that Ginyu base is pretty easy to use, and he does have a high damage output. So that's always good to hear, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Establish an advantage in the battlefield by using the Ginyu Force well, and turn the tables with body chain. So we already knew this. Ginyu is going to obviously have the Ginyu Force to, to use in battle, and then he can use body change to switch the tables around pretty bad. So here we go with the special moves. Ginyu Force Assemble. Ginyu poses and calls the Ginyu Force. Each time Ginyu calls the Ginyu Force, the member that appears to assist him changes. Now this is actually interesting. I'm not sure if it was ever mentioned before, but I'm not sure if it's mentioned here or you know, whatever. I'm curious if the Ginyu Force appear at random, or do the Ginyu Force appear depending on the input that you put in. So is it possible to specifically call Birder, you know, himself out, or Raccoon, or Jace, or whoever, or is it every time you input that one single command, a different one will come out randomly, or are they in a specific order? Either way, let me just continue. It is important to plan out when you call each member, since there is a large variety of moves, from long range to short range, such as Goldo's Paralysis, which is useful for disrupting your opponent, and Birder's Mock Kick, which has a very fast start. So pretty much what they're saying is each Ginyu has their use, each Ginyu has their purposes, and situations to use them in. In other words, you're not going to want to use Goldo, which they're saying is a short range move with his paralysis. You're not going to want to use Goldo if your opponent is literally full screen away. Something that you want to set up, and you want him right in front of you to go ahead and land it and get a free combo off pretty much. Now, after that, they go into his Meteor Super. Once again, these are the level 3s. It is the body change. So this one was obvious. Ginyu shoots his ki at the opponent, and a cinematic plays if it hits. On hit, the characters you and your opponent control switch, with the health values exchanged as well. Now, this is a nod to the series, and this is the only reason why you would use this move. Pretty much what happens when you switch bodies is you're putting your opponent in a compromising situation. Number one, if they have no idea how to play Ginyu, that's already an advantage in your favor. Number two, if your Ginyu is badly damaged and he's about to die, you're normally only going to use this move for two reasons. Number one, player unfamiliarity for your opponent, or number two, you're badly damaged and you want to obviously switch out to your opponent's health so you can finish them off. Now, anyone who does go ahead and play Ginyu, obviously they're probably going to have to know a pretty decent amount of the cast so that when they do use the body switch, they can, you know what they're doing when they switch. Another interesting fact that I've heard in regards to Ginyu is that when you perform the body change, the Ginyu Force will no longer come out for the opponent that's in control of Ginyu, because canon to the show and into the game, they know that Ginyu is no longer in his body, so why would they help him? Which is pretty cheap. So anyone who gets caught with this thing is going to be in a pretty bad situation, and it's not going to look good for them. So prayers to them. The super can be charged, and if it is charged, Ginyu does damage to himself before attacking, allowing you to give your opponent control of a lower health Ginyu. So this is also canon to the show. Right before Ginyu went ahead and switched bodies with Goku, he went ahead and punched himself in the chest. He had a freaking crater in his chest, and he damaged himself so that when he transferred over to Goku, Goku wouldn't be able to chase him, and he would just be in a bad situation where he could just run off and leave Goku to die or not do anything pretty much. That's it for the characters right now. They go ahead and give us some information regarding the story mode, and this is actually interesting. They gave us some information that was previously disclosed to us before, but they go a little more in depth, so let me go ahead and share that with you guys. In regards to the story mode, the story involves mysterious clones of Goku and company attacking the world. The player links with many different Dragon Ball characters, borrowing their bodies to fight. So this is something that they did discuss before. Pretty much you're going to be inhabiting different Dragon Ball characters depending on the situation, I believe. But let me just go further into what they are saying. There are three different sections to the story. The Super Warrior chapter, where the player links with Goku and his friends. The Super Villain chapter, where the player links with Frieza. And then the Android chapter, where the player links with the androids. So pretty much what they're saying is, when you are playing these different chapters, you're obviously going to have different options of who you can link with. So in the Super Warrior chapter, you can be Goku, or maybe you can be Vegeta or Yamcha or whoever you want to be in terms of Goku in the Z game. For the Super Villain chapter, obviously I'm going to assume that it's going to be Frieza, it's going to be, Majin Buu, it's going to be Cell, etc, etc. For the Android chapter, this one is pretty obvious. I'm not sure if 16 is going to be there, but I'm pretty sure you can be 18 and any other Android that does appear in the game. Now, as you link with characters and fight as them, the character's link ratio increases, raising their status and increasing their strength. So pretty much what this means is it's like levels. So let's say you start off level 1, and like a level 1 Goku. The more you play Goku, the higher level you can raise him up to level 2, level 3, level 4, etc, etc. Pretty much building him up and making him stronger. And I'm pretty sure obviously that applies to any character that you play the more that you play them. Now, furthermore, as a character's link ratio increases, your bond with them deepens, and you can gain access to link conversations where you might see an unexpected side to a character. Now this is interesting, this is actually pretty fun, and I like that they included this. The more that you play with a character and the stronger bond that you guys build, they're going to start to say some things that you would expect a friend to say to you. So pretty much, they give some examples. Right here they say, Yamcha declares that he hasn't given up on marriage. And then another example that they give is, Vegeta begins talking about his family. So this is nice information that we can get from these characters, and it just creates this type of, how do I say, it creates a relationship between you and the character, and it creates immersion, in my opinion, because you are linking with these characters, and you start to feel like they're really your friend. Now, moving forward, the player chooses their own progress through story mode by advancing through a board game-like map. So anyone who's played the original Dragon Ball Z Budokai series, Budokai 2 to be specific, are going to be familiar with this mechanic. Pretty much, you're going to be placed on a board, and you're going to have your enemies and you're going to have your allies, and you can move across the board wherever you want. You can avoid the enemy, you can go towards the enemy, etc, etc. You can find items, yada yada yada. But pretty much that's how it's going to work. Now, you can choose to rescue fallen warriors to add to your party, or to defeat enemies with strong skills to gain their skills, or to fight strong opponents who appear every now and then for experience points to level up. So, like I said, pretty much just like it worked in Budokai 2, I don't think in Budokai 2 it had a leveling up system, so that is something new for Dragon Ball FighterZ. You can choose to go the safe route where you're looking for items and you want to fight as least enemies as possible, and that's actually a cool mechanic. I'm gonna guess if one of your allies gets KO'd, you can actually go to them and revive them. And then on the other hand, you can also go up to as many enemies as possible, so that you are pretty much leveling up your character more and more to make them stronger. Now they do say the key is efficiently managing the limited amount of time you have per turn, increasing your link ratio, and strengthening your characters. So I do see that there is a timer at the upper left hand corner of the picture or the image that I'm looking at. I'm not sure exactly how that's gonna work. Not sure if it's you have a specific amount of time with one character, and do you switch over to the next if your time runs out or you fail the game. But obviously we're gonna find out more when we actually do play the game, or maybe they'll release more information on it. Now the link ratio and strengthening your character, that's something that we already went over. The more you play with the character, the more items that you pick up to help them get stronger, you make them stronger. Now, enemies drop skills when defeated. Normal attack damage up level 1 to level 6. Special move damage up level 1 to level 3. So once again, when an enemy drops a skill, let's say they drop something like normal attack damage level up 2, and your Goku is on level 1. You're going to level up his normal attack damage to level 3 at that point, and etc etc for whatever else you pick up, which is actually pretty cool. They're adding a little bit of customization to the game, where you can pretty much level up your characters the way that you want to level them up at. Now, here's some information they're mentioning. Yamcha was knocked out. If you revive him, he will become an ally. And then the other is a strong enemy that has a random chance of appearing. Defeating him grants a large amount of experience points. So once again, this is just reiterating the mechanics that are in the game. You can revive people to become allies and defeat strong opponents to gain more experience points. Nothing new there. Now, here we go with the online mode. Here it mentions you can enjoy multiple ways to play. Multiple ways to match against opponents. I apologize. You can play against anybody in the world through the world match, or play in a private room against friends in a circle match. Now they describe the world match as you would expect from the name, you can play against anybody, anywhere in the world. Rank matches affect your rank based on your results, matching you against players of similar rank, while casual matches match you against players ignoring rank. So this is actually good information for anyone who is interested in a little bit of balance when it comes to competition. What this means is if you're a rank 1, or if you're a rank, let's say you're rank 10, and the highest level rank you can be is rank 1. If you're a rank 10, 9 times out of 10 you're not going to be facing someone who is rank 1. The only way that would happen is literally no one is online, and only a rank 1 is the closest thing to your level. That's when you would rank up to them. So it does balance out, you know, people who are just coming into the game. They're not going to be, you know, ran in by people with way more experience. Another good thing is the casual matches. Casual matches ignore rank, so if you are somebody who wants to take on that challenge to face someone who has superior skill level to you, you can go ahead and do that, or whatever the case may be. Now, the circle match, you can also create a private room that takes a maximum of 8 players. Players in the room can play each other and spectate other matches, and specific rules can be put in place for matches that take place in the room. This is good for players who do not want to play against strangers, or if you want to have fun with your friends. So this is also good information. They're giving you a little bit more information on the options. So pretty much if you, let's say, you know, ranked matches are, you know, best 2 out of 3. If you made a circle match, if you made your own private room, let's say you wanted to raise, you know, it to be 3 out of 5. Let's say you wanted more rounds. Instead of there being 2 rounds, you have 3 rounds, 4 rounds, whatever the case. Maybe you wanted to lower the timer, heighten the timer, have infinite time. Whatever the case, you can actually customize your room to make it where you want it to be, pretty much. Now, that's it for the information that I have, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed that information. If you did, go ahead and leave a like. Please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell if you want to go ahead and keep up with my content. Thank you guys very much for viewing the content and visiting the channel. And until next time, guys, hope you enjoyed. And for now, bang.